Andy Johnson. We are looking at the schema building lesson plan, the most basic. If you understand this, you'll be able to create all sorts of lesson. A schema is a file folder in your head, a body of knowledge related to something. The purpose of the schema building lesson is to develop students' knowledge, to build their schemata, which is plural for schema. And again, this is the most basic of all lesson plan formats. If you understand this, you'll be able to design a variety of formats. It has a goal or a purpose statement. Students will learn about, insert your topic here, and I'll demonstrate this in just a minute, a behavioral objective. Students will demonstrate their learning by what behavioral would I like to see at the end that demonstrates their learning. We should be able to say yes or no in answer to the question, did they learn? Did they meet that behavioral objective? And then the assessment. How will we know if students have learned? This is very much related to that behavioral objective. You may want to leave this until the end. Many people come back to this at the end, and I'm going to do that. Example, students will learn about the information processing model. Students will demonstrate their learning by correctly identifying and describing the functions of the 4 parts of the information processing model. I can say yes or no at the end of the lesson in regards to if students have learned this. Assessment, I'm going to come back to that. The next part is the opening. You want to gain their attention. Sometimes you set the goal or the purpose of the lesson or the relevance to make these personal connections or prerequisite skills if you need that, or vocabulary. You do not need to do all of these, but the purpose is to get them ready. I would say this is anywhere from 15 seconds to 2 or 3 minutes at the most. And here's an example. Today we are going to learn about the information processing model. There are 4 parts to it. This will help us understand how human beings learn, why we structure lessons the way we do, and why we create learning experiences the way we do. At the end, you'll be creating a poster that demonstrates your understanding of this. The next part is the input or the body. This is the information they need to know. I recommend outline form using short abbreviated sentences. This helps you see the structure of what you are teaching. It's organized, and if it's organized up here, it will be organized on your lesson plan, and students will see the structure, better able to encode that new information. And this ensures that you don't simply read off your lesson plan. If you are providing new terms, make sure you use student-friendly terms, not dictionary language, but kid language. And you always want to create these connections to students or to their lives somehow. This is where you provide examples or illustrations as well. For example, information related to information processing model would be contained here. It would be organized. All the information related to the objective would be here. Everything that students need to know. And I'm not going to give you all the information because this would be a much larger lesson. But the rule of thumb is that a sub should be able to pick up your lesson and make it work and replicate it. So it has to have that level of clarity and detail. Unguided practice or the activity. This is where students manipulate, extend, or apply their learning, something you already taught them in the input. This is not where you challenge them. The goal is to practice their learning. Now, sometimes this is homework. Sometimes it's an activity. Sometimes the teacher can observe here to assess. All right, so that's a variety of ways, but the purpose is to reinforce learning, to manipulate, extend, or apply something from the input. And then the assessment. Sometimes the assessment is found in the activity, as you will see. But did they meet your behavioral objective? You should be able to answer yes, no. And how do you know? As an example, for my lesson on the information processing model, I'm going to have them do a small group activity. Students are going to work together to create a poster to illustrate the information processing model. Huge one. We're going to put them up on the walls. They need to use pictures, symbols, and words to demonstrate each part of it. And it allows them to be creative, work together, talk. That's all good stuff. Assessment. I'm simply going to observe their posters to see if they've got it. All the parts have to be correct. I could do a simple exit survey or a mini quiz or a Dropbox as well. I will also be assessing with an online quiz. That is it, the very basic schema building lesson plan.